Hi everybody. So welcome back to Willie's Acoustic Room. We hope you're all doing okay. And let's see, what should we talk about today? I know, let's talk about when you get a job here, and in those first couple of weeks, I always tell new employees that are working here, like, you're gonna find things come in groups. Just today, we saw our third F-bodied Rickenbacker, and for you Rickenbacker nerds, that's a really early Rickenbacker. These two guitars came in, this one came in, and then I actually have a third Paisley guitar came in, and then these two guitars came in just within days of each other, and they're really beautiful guitars. So you probably know this, but a Epiphone and Gibson were made side by side. Epiphone actually started in the 1800s, somewhere around Turkey. They moved to New York City and they built basically banjos, mandolins, lutes, and archtop guitars. Epiphone was the king of archtop guitars. Everybody, Gibson, Stromberg, D'Angelico, they followed Epiphone's leads. They also made a beautiful stand-up bass, and that's why Gibson bought Epiphone in 1957 to have the basses. But the solid body bass took over, and so they just decided to make Epiphone side by side in the factory. This is a Gibson J45. This is an Epiphone FT-79, otherwise known as a Texan. And you Paul McCartney fans will recognize that Epiphone Texan in blonde is a McCartney instrument. But look at some of the differences here seen side by side. You can see the Epiphone version of a J45 has these different inlays. They also have a different headstock, and almost always the finishes have a unique touch. Some Epiphone finishes, like an iced tea birch burst, are really pretty exclusive to Epiphone, so they did try to differentiate them. The idea being that Gibson could then open up another dealer near their Gibson dealer, and there would be two different things, but these are identical in size, in shape. They were made in the same factory. So there's Epiphone and Gibson. The neck shapes are similar, but almost always Epiphones had that extra little shaving. Almost always Epiphones have a slightly smaller neck. So first off, this is a 1969 J45 with a giant neck. This is a really unusual guitar because by the late 60s, Gibson had more of an Epiphone neck, and this is a large neck 1960s J45. A cool guitar, Brazilian rosewood board, Honduran mahogany back and sides, a beautiful spruce top. This is in good shape, it's healthy, and worthy of your consideration. Back to the Epiphones. This J45, or Texan, these guitars have a mid-range sound that records really well. And any of you that have listened to Tom Petty, the Rolling Stones, you've heard this sound. It really blends in well. There's a bit of a rumble in the bottom end. And there's also this real clear upper mid-range, and that cuts through really well in a recording. They're kind of famous. That's why guys want Gibson J45s or the Hummingbirds, which is the same exact body and dimensions except a different decoration. So a lot of the guitars, a lot of these 60s Gibsons, guys are buying for recording, and it's just a legendary guitar and things that might go up in value. Next to it, if you were a Gibson fan, this is a B25 made by Epiphone, and Epiphone made this Cortez. It's called an FT-45, FT flat top 79, FT-45. Why they came up with those names, I don't know. What you get out of these smaller body guitars, this is an X-brace guitar like that one. Really, it's the same construction. Mahogany back and sides, Brazilian rosewood board, you have the same headstock shape, and you have spruce top. On this one, it's a really wide-grained spruce. I don't think that's Adirondack, but a very wide-grained Adirondack-looking Sitka spruce top on this guitar. We just got this. This is like a 67, and you can see, well, it's kind of hard to see because there's a lot of finish checking. But what you get out of a smaller body guitar, A, you can sing over it. La, la, la. You get a thinner, more narrow sound out of this. It's a little more balanced. It's easier to sing over. They tend to cut through better. You think, well, the big jumbo guitar probably sounds better in a recording. No, by the time you start recording and mix all those other instruments in, the big guitars tend to get lost. Where a small guitar like this blends in better. It finds a niche in the recording, and that's why guys will buy these too, because they present themselves a little better in a recording, and it's a little easier on your shoulders. I'm 6 foot tall, and a dreadnought guitar can, even for me, put my shoulder out of kilter, and your shoulders are kind of like this, and your neck's correcting it like that. So it can hurt after a while to play a dreadnought. There's a growing demand for smaller guitars. Dreadnought sound. Cortez sound. See? So there you go. There's my little thoughts on Epiphones and coincidences. Boy, stuff comes in groups. It does. Sometimes stuff comes in you haven't seen in years, and 2 or 3 of them will come in with the same day. Today, my friends, was one of those days.